I've seen it happen more times than I care to admit. A friend, a neighbor, even my own brother. One moment, they were laughing over coffee. The next week, they were in a hospital bed, silent, confused, one side of the body not moving. Stroke doesn't warn you. It just strikes. If you're over 60, like me, you already know. We don't recover as fast, and sometimes we don't recover at all. But let's be clear. What is a stroke? A stroke happens when blood flow to the brain is suddenly blocked, either by a clot or a burst vessel. Within minutes, brain cells begin to die. Speech, memory, movement, gone in a flash. And in the US, it happens every 40 seconds. The most common cause? High blood pressure, but also poor circulation, clogged arteries, and yes, even the wrong foods on your plate. That's why I started paying attention, not just to pills and doctor visits, but to what I eat every single day. Turns out, certain fruits, simple, everyday fruits, can quietly help protect your brain, improve circulation, and lower stroke risk. They've made a difference in my life, and today I want to share 9 of the most powerful ones with you. They're easy to find, delicious, and backed by science. And honestly, they just might help you stay out of the hospital and in control of your life. 1. Grapes. A simple fruit that supports your brain and blood vessels. I used to think grapes were just a sweet little snack, nothing more. But after I turned 65 and started taking my health seriously, I discovered that these tiny fruits hold one of the most powerful compounds for stroke prevention, resveratrol. So, what exactly is resveratrol? Resveratrol is a natural polyphenol antioxidant found in the skin of red and purple grapes. It's known for its ability to protect the lining of blood vessels, improve circulation, and reduce clot formation. And these aren't just claims. The research is clear. Why it matters for stroke prevention. A stroke happens when blood flow to the brain is suddenly cut off, either by a clot, ischemic stroke, or a ruptured blood vessel, hemorrhagic stroke. Nearly 87% of all strokes in the US are ischemic, according to the American Stroke Association. Resveratrol may help prevent ischemic strokes in 3 key ways. Improves blood vessel flexibility. A study from Nutrition Research, 2010, found that resveratrol supplementation improved flow-mediated dilation, a key measure of how well arteries expand, with just 30 days of use. Reduces inflammation. Chronic vascular inflammation can lead to blood vessel damage and clot risk. Research published in Molecules, 2018, confirms that resveratrol suppresses inflammatory pathways, including NF-κB and cytokines, linked to stroke and heart disease. Prevents excessive clotting. According to the Journal of Cardiovascular Pharmacology, resveratrol inhibits platelet aggregation, meaning it helps prevent blood from becoming too sticky, a common factor in clot formation. How I use grapes, and you can too. I now see grapes as more than just fruit. They're daily protection. Here's how I fit them into my routine. I choose red or purple grapes. They contain over 2 times more resveratrol than green ones. I eat a small handful, about 1/2 to 1 cup, mid-morning or after lunch. I make sure to eat the skin, where most of the resveratrol lives. And once or twice a week, I drink 1/2 cup of 100% pure red grape juice. No added sugar. One study published in the Journal of Nutrition, 2001, showed that drinking Concord grape juice for 2 weeks significantly improved blood flow and reduced platelet aggregation in older adults. That's science, and it's simple. What seniors should know. Before adding grapes, watch the sugar. Grapes are naturally sweet. If you have diabetes or prediabetes, limit to 15 to 20 grapes a day and avoid juice. Talk to your doctor if you're on blood thinners. Resveratrol has mild anticoagulant properties. If you take medications like warfarin, Coumadin, or aspirin, combining them may increase bleeding risk. Eat them fresh. Dried grapes, raisins, have concentrated sugar and almost no resveratrol left. Stick with fresh ones. I've made red grapes part of my daily habits now. They're sweet, yes. But more than that, they're smart. A small step that keeps my blood flowing. And my mind clear, sharp, and steady. 2. Pomegranates, the red jewel that guards your blood flow. I'll be honest with you. For most of my life, I saw pomegranates as too much trouble. Too many seeds. Too messy. And frankly, I didn't know what to do with them. But after I read how they support blood flow and protect the brain, I gave them a second look. And now? They're a regular part of my week. The secret is in the polyphenols. Pomegranates are rich in a group of antioxidants called elagitannins, especially punicalagin, a compound that's been shown to reduce inflammation, lower blood pressure, and improve the health of arterial walls. Why this fruit helps prevent stroke. Let's break it down. One of the biggest risk factors for stroke is high blood pressure, and another is damaged or inflamed blood vessels in the brain. Pomegranates fight both. 1. Lowers blood pressure. Naturally. A meta-analysis published in Pharmacological Research, 2016, looked at 8 studies. It found that drinking 1 cup, 8 ounces, of pomegranate juice daily lowered systolic blood pressure by an average of 5 millimeters of mercury, which is significant for stroke prevention. According to the American Heart Association, even a drop of 5 millimeters of mercury in systolic pressure can lower your risk of stroke by up to 14%. 2. Reduces arterial stiffness and inflammation. In a study published in Clinical Nutrition, 2004, people who drank pomegranate juice daily for 1 year had a 30% reduction in carotid artery thickness, a key marker of atherosclerosis and stroke risk. Another study in Free Radical Biology and Medicine, 2011, showed that pomegranate polyphenols inhibit LDL oxidation, which means they stop cholesterol from becoming sticky and clogging up your brain's blood vessels. How I use pomegranates in my routine. You don't have to crack open a fruit every day. Here's how I make it easy. Unsweetened pomegranate juice. I buy a bottle that's 100% pure and drink about half a cup with breakfast or lunch. That's enough to get the polyphenols without too much sugar. Fresh seeds. On weekends, I'll cut open a fish pomegranate and sprinkle the seeds over Greek yogurt or oatmeal. It adds a little crunch, a little tartness, and a lot of health. Smoothie boost? Sometimes I toss a few tablespoons of the juice into a smoothie with spinach, banana, and flaxseed. It's tart, refreshing, and most of all, it's doing something inside me that no pill ever could. What older adults should keep in mind. Blood sugar. Pomegranate juice has natural sugars, so if you have type 2 diabetes, stick to 4 to 6 ounces per day and always pair it with fiber or protein. Kidney concerns. If you're on a low potassium diet for kidney issues, ask your doctor before drinking pomegranate juice regularly. Medication caution. Pomegranate may interact with some blood pressure meds and statins, similar to grapefruit. Always check with your doctor if you're on prescription medications. To me, pomegranates are no longer a special occasion fruit. They're a daily act of protection, a quiet way to strengthen my blood vessels and keep my brain sharp. I don't just eat them for flavor. I eat them for the life I still want to live. 3. Kiwi, the small green fruit that keeps your blood flowing smoothly. I'll admit, I didn't grow up eating kiwi. It wasn't something you'd find on my mother's kitchen table in the 1950s, but a few years ago, my cardiologist mentioned it during a checkup. He said, if you want a natural way to protect your blood vessels and brain, try eating a kiwi a day. That sounded simple enough, so I gave it a shot. And now, it's part of my regular breakfast. What makes kiwi special? Kiwi may be small, but it's one of the most nutrient-dense fruits on the planet. Each kiwi contains potassium, helps lower blood pressure by balancing sodium, vitamin K, supports healthy clotting without encouraging excess clot formation, vitamin E and C, powerful antioxidants that protect blood vessels from damage, actinidin, a natural enzyme that supports digestion and nutrient absorption, flavonoids and carotenoids, plant compounds that reduce inflammation in blood vessels. Together, these nutrients form a powerful team to protect your heart, arteries, and brain, especially as you age. How kiwi helps prevent stroke. A stroke, particularly an ischemic one, is often the result of poor circulation or blood clots that block flow to the brain. Kiwi works against this in multiple ways. 1. Natural antiplatelet effect. A study published in Platelets, 2004, found that eating 2 kiwis a day for 28 days significantly reduced platelet aggregation, which is the clumping of blood cells that leads to clots. The same study showed that kiwi reduced triglyceride levels by 15%, another risk factor for stroke and cardiovascular events. 2. Blood pressure reduction. In research published in the Blood Pressure Journal, 2015, participants who ate 3 kiwis daily for 8 weeks experienced a significant drop in systolic and diastolic blood pressure compared to those who ate an apple a day. The drop in systolic pressure averaged 3.6 millimeters of mercury, which, according to the American Heart Association, can lower stroke risk by over 10%. How I eat kiwi each day. Kiwi is easy to prepare and even easier to enjoy. I slice one in half and scoop it out with a spoon, skin and all if I'm feeling adventurous. Yes, the skin is edible, and it adds extra fiber. Some days I chop it into a fruit salad with blueberries and bananas. Other times, I blend it into a green smoothie with spinach and almond milk. And when I want something simple, just 1 kiwi with breakfast is enough. I don't go overboard. 1 to 2 kiwis a day seems to be the sweet spot for most health benefits. Important notes for seniors. Blood thinning effects. Kiwi has natural antiplatelet properties. If you're on aspirin, Plavix, or other blood thinners, ask your doctor before eating kiwi daily. Allergies. Some people, especially those with latex or pollen allergies, may experience a mild itch or tingle in the mouth after eating kiwi. If that's you, start slowly or consider a substitute. Digestive boost. Thanks to actinidin, kiwi helps with protein digestion. If you often feel bloated after meals, kiwi might become your favorite new companion. These days, kiwi sits on my kitchen counter, right next to the bananas. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it works quietly in the background, doing what medicine often can't do alone. It keeps my blood flowing, my pressure stable, and my brain sharp and steady. 4. Tomatoes, a familiar fruit that quietly protects your arteries. I've eaten tomatoes all my life, in sandwiches, soups, stews, you name it. But I never realized how powerful they are for the brain and the heart until my doctor explained one simple fact. Tomatoes are one of the richest sources of lycopene, a plant compound that helps keep your arteries clean and your blood flowing, right where it needs to go. It made me look at my bowl of tomato soup a little differently. What's inside a tomato that helps fight stroke? The star is lycopene, a bright red carotenoid found in the skin and flesh of ripe tomatoes. Here's why lycopene matters. It's a strong antioxidant that helps neutralize free radicals, which can damage blood vessels and lead to plaque buildup. It reduces LDL cholesterol oxidation, making it harder for cholesterol to stick to artery walls. It also lowers blood pressure, supports endothelial function, and may even improve cognitive performance in older adults. But it doesn't stop there. Tomatoes also offer potassium, helps balance sodium and lowers blood pressure. Vitamin C and E protect blood vessels from oxidative stress. Folate, essential for reducing homocysteine, an amino acid linked to stroke risk. What the research says: 1 lycopene and stroke risk. A major study published in Neurology 2012, which followed over 1,000 men for 12 years, found that those with the highest blood lycopene levels had a 55% lower risk of stroke compared to those with the lowest levels. That's not a small difference. That's life-changing. 2. Cooked tomatoes are even better. Unlike most nutrients, lycopene becomes more bioavailable when heated. That means cooking tomatoes, like in soups, sauces, or stews, makes them easier for your body to absorb. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2000, confirmed that blood lycopene levels increased threefold after people ate cooked tomatoes for just 1 week. How I use tomatoes in my daily routine. I've always loved tomatoes, but now I use them more intentionally. I start my day with a few cherry tomatoes alongside eggs or toast. For lunch, I enjoy a bowl of tomato soup, especially the kind with garlic and olive oil. In the evening, I simmer fresh or canned tomatoes into a simple sauce for veggies or whole grains. Sometimes I add a splash of olive oil, which helps the body absorb more lycopene. My goal? At least 1/2 cup of cooked tomatoes or 1 whole tomato per day. It's easy, comforting, and doing my arteries a real favor. Important notes for seniors: go for ripe, red tomatoes. They have significantly more lycopene than yellow or green varieties. Use olive oil when cooking. Lycopene is fat-soluble, so pairing it with healthy fats boosts absorption. Be mindful of sodium. Store-bought tomato soups and sauces can be high in salt. Look for low-sodium versions, or make your own when possible. If you have acid reflux or GERD, cooked tomatoes may sometimes cause discomfort. Try smaller amounts and avoid eating late at night. Tomatoes are simple. They're something I've always had in my kitchen. But now I don't just see them as food. I see them as daily medicine. They've become part of the quiet, steady choices I make to stay sharp, stay strong, and keep my blood flowing freely to the brain that still has so much to do. 5. Blueberries, nature's little pill for brain protection. I never thought something so small could do so much. But after my sister's minor stroke at 71, I started paying closer attention to what foods support brain health, not just the ones that taste good. That's when I found blueberries. Not just delicious, but surprisingly powerful. They've earned their place in my morning bowl because they've earned it in science too. What's inside blueberries that makes them special? The magic of blueberries lies in a compound called anthocyanins, the pigments that give them their deep blue-purple color. Anthocyanins are a type of flavonoid antioxidant, and they work in several ways. Protect blood vessels from oxidative stress. Improve the flexibility of arteries, which promotes better blood flow to the brain. Reduce inflammation, especially in the tiny vessels of the brain. Support communication between brain cells, helping memory and focus. Blueberries are also rich in vitamin C, strengthens capillaries. Vitamin K supports healthy clotting manganese, aids in blood sugar control and cellular metabolism. Fiber balances blood sugar and cholesterol. Why blueberries? Help prevent stroke. 1. Improved brain blood flow. A study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2017, showed that older adults who consumed 200 grams of blueberries daily experienced significantly increased blood flow to the brain's prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for decision-making and focus. That kind of circulation improvement is key to stroke prevention. 2. Reduced oxidative damage to arteries. In a study published in the Journal of Nutrition, 2015, women who consumed 1 cup of blueberries daily for 8 weeks showed improved endothelial function and reduced blood pressure. The researchers concluded that regular blueberry consumption could lower the risk of both heart disease and stroke in postmenopausal women. How I add blueberries to my day. They're easy, and honestly, they make everything taste better. I add half a cup of fresh or frozen blueberries to my morning oatmeal. Some days, I blend them into a smoothie with Greek yogurt and spinach. On warm afternoons, I freeze them and eat them like tiny frozen treats. And when I want something simple, just a small bowl as is, I aim for 1/2 to 1 cup a day, which is enough to gain long-term vascular and cognitive benefits. And yes, frozen is just as good as fresh, because freezing preserves most of the anthocyanins. Important notes for seniors. Low in sugar, but still sweet. Blueberries are great for people watching their blood sugar, but portion still matters. Stick to 1 cup or less per day. Look for wild blueberries. These tend to have higher levels of antioxidants than the larger, cultivated types. Organic when possible. Because blueberries are thin-skinned, they absorb pesticides more easily. If budget allows, choose organic, especially for regular use. If on blood thinners, blueberries contain vitamin K, which can interfere with warfarin, Coumadin. Keep intake consistent and consult your doctor. Blueberries have become a quiet part of my routine, but I see them now as more than a fruit. They're a daily reminder that small things, done regularly, can add up to something powerful, something protective, something worth sticking to. 6. Bananas. The everyday fruit that balances your blood pressure. If there's one fruit that's always been on my kitchen counter, it's the banana. They're affordable, easy to digest, and let's be honest, most of us grew up with one in our lunchbox. But after my doctor explained how potassium affects stroke risk, I realized bananas aren't just a snack. They're a serious tool for protecting the brain. What's inside bananas that helps prevent stroke? The most important mineral in bananas is potassium. Just one medium banana contains around 420 milligrams of potassium. That's about 9% of the daily recommended amount for older adults. Here's why potassium matters. It helps relax blood vessel walls, improving circulation. It balances sodium levels, preventing high blood pressure. It supports fluid balance, reducing strain on the heart and brain. Bananas also provide vitamin B6, helps regulate homocysteine, an amino acid linked to stroke. Magnesium supports normal heart rhythm. Fiber lowers cholesterol and improves blood sugar control. Natural antioxidants protect blood vessel walls from damage. How potassium reduces stroke risk. One of the biggest drivers of stroke is high blood pressure, and studies show that people who consume more potassium have lower rates of stroke, especially ischemic stroke. Key study number 1. A 2014 meta-analysis published in the British Medical Journal reviewed data from over 247,000 participants. It found that individuals with the highest potassium intake had a 24% lower risk of stroke compared to those with the lowest intake. Key study number 2. Another study in stroke, 2012, tracked over 90,000 women for 11 years. Those who ate the most potassium-rich foods had a 27% lower risk of stroke and were also less likely to die from any cardiovascular cause. That's not a pill. That's a banana. How I eat bananas safely and consistently. For me, it's all about balance. I usually have half a banana in my morning oatmeal or smoothie. On days I feel a bit low on energy, I'll eat the other half as a midday snack. When I want something comforting, I mash a banana with cinnamon and a spoon of Greek yogurt. I aim for no more than 1 banana per day because moderation matters, even with healthy things. And when I want extra potassium variety, I mix in avocados, sweet potatoes, or spinach too. Important notes for seniors. Chronic kidney disease. If your kidneys struggle to remove potassium, eating too many bananas may cause buildup. If you've been told to follow a low potassium diet, speak with your doctor first. Diabetes. Bananas are naturally sweet. Choose slightly green or just ripe bananas, which have a lower glycemic index than overripe ones. Medication interactions. Some blood pressure drugs, like ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics, already raise potassium levels. Adding too much from food might lead to hyperkalemia. To me, bananas are a reminder that not every solution comes in a bottle. Sometimes the right fruit, eaten at the right time, in the right amount, can be just as powerful. And every bite brings me closer to the calm, steady heartbeat and clear mind I want to keep. 7. Oranges, the bright fruit that keeps your blood vessels clean. When I was growing up, a glass of orange juice was how we started the day. Sweet, tangy, and full of sunshine. Back then, I just thought it tasted good, but now I see it as a quiet protector, especially for the brain. Because oranges are more than vitamin C. They're loaded with nutrients that support healthy arteries, prevent clots, and help keep your brain oxygenated and alert. What makes oranges powerful for stroke prevention? Let's start with the basics. One medium orange contains over 230 milligrams of potassium, lowers blood pressure. Nearly 70 milligrams of vitamin C, fights oxidative damage in blood vessels. Natural folate, supports healthy blood flow to the brain. Hesperidin, a flavonoid that improves circulation and reduces inflammation. Soluble fiber, helps lower cholesterol and maintain healthy blood sugar levels. But the standout nutrient here is hesperidin. It's a citrus bioflavonoid found mostly in the white pith and inner peel, and it has a direct effect on the function of your blood vessels. How oranges reduce stroke. Risk 1 blood pressure and vascular flexibility. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 2011 found that older adults who consumed citrus flavonoids, like hesperidin, had better endothelial function, meaning their blood vessels expanded more easily, improving circulation and reducing stroke risk. Second stroke-specific research. A large prospective study from Stroke, 2012, involving over 69,000 women over 14 years, found that those with the highest intake of citrus fruits had a 19% lower risk of ischemic stroke. Researchers attributed the benefit to both vitamin C and flavonoid intake, especially hesperidin and naringenin found in oranges and grapefruits. How I include oranges in my routine. I've learned that a little orange, done right, can go a long way. I eat 1 whole orange in the afternoon when I need a gentle energy boost. I sometimes zest the peel and add it to oatmeal for extra hesperidin. For variety, I'll toss orange slices into a spinach salad with walnuts and olive oil, and once or twice a week, I'll drink half a cup of freshly squeezed juice, no sugar added. Just remember, the whole fruit is better than the juice because you keep the fiber and avoid a blood sugar spike. Important notes for seniors. On blood pressure meds, whole oranges are generally safe, but grapefruit, a citrus cousin, can interact with certain heart medications. Ask your doctor before eating grapefruit regularly. Watch the juice. Even 100% orange juice is high in natural sugar. Stick to no more than 1/2 cup per serving and avoid juices with added sugars. Digestive sensitivity? Citrus can sometimes irritate acid reflux. If that's you, try eating oranges with meals, not on an empty stomach. Now, when I peel an orange, I don't just think of flavor. I think of every little blood vessel in my brain being gently supported, cleared, opened, nourished. 1 fruit, 1 moment, 1 more day of clarity. 8. Apples, the everyday fruit that silently protects your brain. There's something comforting about an apple. It's the fruit I grew up with, packed in school lunches, baked into pies, or just eaten whole on a quiet afternoon. But what I didn't realize until later in life is that apples offer more than comfort. They offer protection, especially for the heart and brain. Turns out, that old saying about an apple a day might actually be backed by science. What's in apples that helps prevent stroke? Apples contain a unique combination of nutrients and plant compounds, including quercetin, a potent flavonoid with anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects, pectin, a type of soluble fiber that helps reduce cholesterol and balance blood sugar polyphenols, natural antioxidants that protect blood vessels from damage vitamin C and potassium, support blood pressure control, and vascular health. Most of these compounds are found in the skin, so eating apples whole, not peeled, is where the real benefits lie. How apples protect against stroke. 1. Cholesterol control. High LDL bad cholesterol contributes to arterial plaque. One of the key drivers of ischemic stroke, a 2012 study published in the Journal of Functional Foods found that eating 1 apple a day for 4 weeks led to a 40% reduction in LDL oxidation, the form of cholesterol most likely to stick to artery walls. 2. Reduced inflammation and blood pressure. Quercetin has been shown to lower systolic blood pressure and suppress inflammatory markers that contribute to stroke risk. In the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2007, researchers found that people who consumed the most flavonoid-rich foods, especially apples and pears, had a 20% lower risk of stroke. How I use apples in my day-to-day life. They're easy, portable, and incredibly versatile. I eat one small apple every afternoon, usually with a few walnuts. Sometimes I slice it into oatmeal, especially during colder months. Other times, I bake it with cinnamon for a warm, blood sugar-friendly treat. I prefer red apples like Fuji or Gala for their sweetness, but green ones like Granny Smith are lower in sugar if you're watching carbs. Important notes for seniors. Keep the peel. That's where most of the quercetin and fiber are found. Just wash well, or buy organic if possible. Blood sugar concerns? Apples have a moderate glycemic load. Eat them with protein or healthy fat, like almond butter or cheese, to slow the sugar release. Watch dental issues. If you have sensitive teeth or dentures, try slicing thinly or lightly, baking them until soft. Medication caution. Apple juice may interfere with some medications' absorption, including certain statins and antihistamines. Whole apples are a safer choice. To me, an apple is more than tradition. It's a daily act of prevention. A sweet, crisp reminder that the choices we make today shape the health we hold tomorrow. 9. Avocados, the creamy fruit that nourishes your brain and heart. I used to avoid avocados. Too fatty, I thought. Too rich. Back then, I didn't know the difference between good fat and bad fat. I just knew I was getting older, and I wanted to avoid strokes like the one that nearly took my uncle's life. But one appointment changed that. My doctor told me, avocados are some of the best foods you can eat for your arteries. And he was right. What's inside avocados that makes them stroke-fighting superfoods? Avocados are rich in monounsaturated fats, especially oleic acid, a heart-healthy fat that helps lower LDL cholesterol and reduce inflammation in blood vessels. But that's just the start. One medium avocado also contains nearly 700 milligrams of potassium, more than a banana folate, helps break down homocysteine, an amino acid linked to stroke risk magnesium, supports healthy blood pressure and nerve function, vitamin K, essential for balanced clotting lutein, an antioxidant that protects brain cells from aging. It's the perfect mix of healthy fat plus fiber plus antioxidants. Exactly what older brains and hearts need. How avocados help prevent stroke 1. Improves cholesterol balance. A study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association, 2015, found that participants who ate one avocado per day for 5 weeks had significantly lower LDL cholesterol and improved vascular health, even compared to those on a low-fat diet. 2. Supports blood pressure regulation. Avocados are high in potassium and magnesium, 2 minerals that work together to relax blood vessels and stabilize blood pressure. A major factor in stroke prevention. According to the National Institutes of Health, increasing potassium intake while reducing sodium can cut stroke risk by as much as 24%. How I eat avocados without overdoing it. They're creamy, filling, and easy to pair with just about anything. In the morning, I spread a quarter avocado on whole grain toast with a pinch of sea salt and lemon. For lunch, I dice it into a salad with dark leafy greens and olive oil. Sometimes I make a brain-boosting smoothie with avocado, blueberries, and almond milk. And when I want something indulgent, A few slices with a boiled egg do the trick. I stick to 1/4 to 1/2 avocado per day, which is enough for the benefits, without going overboard on calories. Important notes for seniors. Watch portion size. Avocados are calorie-dense. Stick to 1/2 fruit or less per day, especially if managing weight. Medication interactions. Avocados are high in vitamin K. If you're taking warfarin, keep intake consistent and inform your doctor. Go for ripe, but not overripe. Soft, brown-spotted avocados may have oxidized fats. Choose firm, but gently yielding fruit for peak nutrition. Add citrus. A squeeze of lemon or lime not only enhances flavor, but also slows oxidation if you're storing leftovers. Now, avocados have earned a permanent place in my kitchen, not because they're trendy, but because they work. Quietly, powerfully, naturally, to protect what matters most, my blood flow, my brain, and my independence. You don't need a complicated diet. You don't need a cabinet full of pills. Sometimes all it takes is knowing what to put on your plate. Grapes, pomegranates, kiwis, tomatoes, blueberries, bananas, oranges, apples, avocados, 9 fruits. 9 simple, natural gifts, each one working quietly inside you to support your circulation, your vessels, and your brain. Because stroke doesn't knock first. It doesn't wait until we're ready. But what we eat every day can prepare us. These aren't just fruits. They're protection. They're prevention. They're peace of mind in every bite, every spoonful, every quiet choice. So whether you start with a handful of grapes or a few slices of apple at lunch, just start. And know this: it's never too late to feed the body that's carried you this far or protect the brain that still has so much more to do.